What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Bubba Speed career mode in MotoGP 20. I gotta tell you guys, I'm extremely excited about this series in general because thanks to the guys on the Facebook group, I want to give them a big shout out because it's actually a really excellent group. People are constantly talking in it and they're really giving great advice. I've had some advice on how to get better starts, and just in general, they give great opinions and stuff like that on how to actually play the game and what makes the game great, how to play it to get the best out of it, and all sorts of things. So it's just a great community, and I've actually discovered that if you play with traction control all the way down, the game is even more fun, and the gameplay is just excellent. And I gotta say, despite me qualifying, as you can see right there, in 18th position, because I wasn't able to get a single time in qualifying 2. I don't know how it's possible. I just couldn't get it for the life of me. I kept on getting invalid laps, kept on crashing, and I was just making a lot of mistakes. So unfortunately, that did end up costing a little bit. But in qualifying, 18th position. Hopefully in the race we can actually do something. I'm feeling really confident because the lap time I did do was like 2 seconds faster than everybody else, and it was a 1:32, I think it was in first practice 1. And I gotta say, like, on first impact with traction control 0, it's just so much more fun. And the track itself, of course, this is the only track in the MotoGP calendar that I've never played before. I've never been on this track before in any video game whatsoever. And I gotta say, my first thoughts on this track are very good. I had a lot of skepticism, being a new track, being you know, I thought I was expecting it to be kind of like Austria or something like that, and I gotta say, I actually really like the track. Some difficult parts here and there, but overall it feels like a Brno, or, you know, it feels like something like that, a long, fast track, but it's a good track at the same time, not like bullshit like Austria. So just a really fun time playing this game, and I gotta say, man, like, really, like, shout out to the guys in that group, because really the gameplay with traction control all the way down to 0 is just so much more fun. Because first of all, alright, I had to raise the difficulty by a lot. By like 40% I raised the difficulties. It's up to, I think it's at like 100 and something like that right now. I had it at 60 because I was still having some trouble with the game here and there, and mostly because of the fuel, so I was starting to have it a little bit, I was starting to have some issues, but, you know, like, I felt like I was still doing well enough, and meanwhile we crashed out Salach. But I felt like it was a decent difficulty for me to get used to the game. But now that traction control is all the way down, it's like I just feel so much faster, so much more competitive, and I'm really excited to see if I actually have to crank up the difficulty all the way to the maximum, because I feel like that could be in the near future. Meanwhile, my kittens are just going off, having a war right there, and I don't know. I just feel like it's just so good. It's just so good. All right, so after the first lap, went from 18th to 5th position. We're relatively close to the front runners. And of course, with the difficulty up, we do actually have to race pretty well, I would say, to keep ourselves up there. And this is a spot on the track where I feel like we're gonna have a very big advantage. Because something I've noticed, that despite the difficulty being raised big time, the AI still has the same. I'm not gonna say it's an issue with braking, but it seems like they still have this lack of courage or something like that. It's like they brake way early. You're gonna see it right here, like right here. I think that's Mazia. He's easily got past me. He drafted me, no problems there. But look how far back they hit the brakes, and I followed them and actually hit the brakes myself. But I could have gone way farther on the gas, and, you know, I feel like I would have still gotten through the turn, no problem. This is a turn right here where you have to really get it right. This little chicane, and because it's going up the hill, the first few times I did it, I just continued to forget about it, and it really did throw me off a lot. And that's probably the turn that gave me the most issues in qualifying too, because I had a lot of invalid laps due to that. But overall, I feel like it's definitely a decent sector on it, and one that I do feel like once I get used to it and once I get good at it, will be a lot of fun to play through. Made a mistake there, and these uphill turns have definitely been kind of difficult for me. But like I said, it's all a matter of getting used to it. I've played so many hours on pretty much every other track that's not called Austria or Spielberg, whatever it's called. So I feel like once I gain enough experience on this track too, I will start to be pretty good, and I really look forward to playing online in this game. Like once I have a bit of confidence, and once I'm starting to actually play on some of the bigger classes, I feel like I'll definitely go online, and I'll be showing you guys if I'm actually able to do something. Get a penalty, of course, shocker, right? And that's even a situation where I feel like we didn't gain any advantage whatsoever. In fact, I feel like we lost a lot of ground. Set us up very poorly for that final turn, which is, for me personally, very, very difficult. I mean, I've been having a hell of a hard time actually getting it right. Meanwhile, we scared Mazzy off big time there. Don't know exactly why he panicked so much. Not we were going to go flying into him, but I guess we've kind of put the fear of God in him at this point. The fear of Bubba. So, fair enough. We got another penalty. Like, once again, how does that in any way whatsoever give us an advantage? I don't know. Especially like a half a second penalty for that. How is that even remotely sensical? It's completely stupid, and I don't know. It could be something that really screws us going into the final part of the final part of the race. Because like right now, if you look at the fuel tank, we're at 0.19. So no, 0.1.9. I'm stupid. So we have plenty of fuel. I feel like if we put power down to 1, which we just did, then we should be fine. Especially because we've been pretty quick throughout practice, even in like first practice 1 when I was trying to get used to the track. We were pretty quick with power all the way down to 0 too. So I still feel like I'm quick enough to win this race regardless. And I don't know. I'm feeling very, very confident. But this penalty is just one of those things that really just kind of sticks in the back of your mind when you're racing. And it's like between that and the fuel consumption, it can get kind of rough, especially because I have the tendency of looking at the radar in the bottom left, and it kind of gets me distracted a little bit, and then keep on looking at the gap in the top right corner when whenever we get through a sector, and it does kind of stick on your mind, because when you don't have a penalty, you can just kind of like be like, okay, I'm in first, as long as they don't pass me, I'm winning this race. But with the penalty, especially one like this, it's a very, very big one. It can definitely weigh on you and start to distract you, and that's something that in general I have a problem with. My attention span isn't the best, I would say, so having issues like that can definitely really, really harm me. And going through this part of the track right now, as you can definitely see, I'm making a lot of mistakes. The final turn actually comes out pretty well for me this time. I think the line was pretty much correct. I'm not gonna say it was perfect, but I would say it was definitely pretty well executed. A 2:01.8 is actually the best lap time I've had throughout the entire weekend. So definitely a good time, and that was done with 1 power. So definitely we can be quick with even with power down, and we have a great gap right now. Let's see if we can maintain it. And this is the part of the track where we need to exploit, I would say, some of the AI's weaknesses, and we need to brake late, but we need to brake at the right time, because if you brake a little bit too late right here, you can really, really lose a lot of time. And meanwhile, Mazia is right back up to second. That's really frustrating, because it seems like every time he has a bad start, he ends up somehow getting himself towards the front. I feel like we nailed this turn pretty much perfectly. Came into this one very well too, and the chicane. Have to get it nice and slow. That's something I've been learning a lot, and I've been trying to get better at that. Is not always be completely on the throttle, because that's something that I know I was pretty good at for a while back in the old games. I was pretty good at taking it easy, not having to always be either full on or full off. And I feel like that's something I really, really have to work on, and definitely something I feel like I am improving on. And actually, the noise you hear in the background is my kitten, who thinks a toy mouse is a real mouse and is just beating the holy shit out of it. And it's a bit uncalled for. Meanwhile, let's say hi to my man Bamboozle. This is my dude Bamboozle. He's gonna climb on my shoulder. So special guest for this video for you guys, and we're having actually a hell of a lap too. Or at least I feel like it, because the gap is staying pretty big. 2.8 seconds. That's a big, big gap for us, and that's probably gonna be enough, at least for now. I feel like we're definitely doing a good job, and if we don't completely blow it right here and at the end on the last lap, then I feel like we should have no problem actually winning this. And I was fully expecting to lose, like between the difficulty being risen, or at least have like a really, really hard time. But because between the difficulty being lifted this high, being a completely new track, I didn't expect to be this good at the track and have such a good performance. Like it could still all go south, but unless we make a huge mistake, like even a crash right now, I don't think would be too devastating, because the respawn or the get back on your bike animation is actually pretty fast in this game. So I feel like even a crash wouldn't be terrible for us, and we have such a big lead. And that was actually our best lap by far. I don't know if you noticed, but it was like a 2 minute and 0:07 or something like that. So almost a second faster than our previous fastest lap of the weekend. So a hell of a lap right there, and that was with power down to 1. So power isn't always, having a low isn't always terrible. Meanwhile, 3.7 seconds, that's huge. And unless we make a big mistake, and the fuel consumption is getting pretty low, so I have to go back down to 1 power. I put it up just to kind of give us an extra push, just to make sure that we can build up a gap, so we can do the last couple of sectors without being too anxious, I would say. Because that's always, like I said, something that I've had a lot of problems with, is being a little bit nervous and making mistakes. And it's kind of stupid because I'm not usually like that in anything other than this game. And I don't get it. Maybe it's because, like, if I'm playing FIFA or something like that, there's always time for me to make it up. But in a game like this, doing a series in it, I feel like if I make a mistake, then it could definitely cost us a lot. And you know, it's not really. It's in being a racing game, it's kind of different. There's a lot more pressure, I would say. And I don't even know if pressure is the right word, because I don't feel like there's pressure, because I'm not. You know, it's not. I'm not doing anything that actually matters. It's like it matters for the sake of the series, but it's not. You know, I'm not making money off this because, you know, YouTube doesn't pay me nothing, as to quote Brock Lesnar. So, you know, it is what it is. But still, I feel like I make a lot of mistakes a lot of times when I'm like right here. Like there's no reason for me to be this far inside. I know this turn's gonna be a hairpin. So what's the point of cutting it like that? So I definitely made a big mistake there, and I feel like they probably gained a lot of ground. I was a second slower than the previous lap, so definitely wasn't as good. But regardless, Bubba is once again the winner of a Grand Prix. That's what, 2 or 3 in a row. I think it's 3 in a row now. I think it's I think we won Assen, so definitely I think it's 3 in a row. And the lead at this point is getting massive. We're 44 points ahead. Maybe we finished second in Assen because of a penalty or something like that. But regardless, Bubba's been winning left and right. 44-point lead in the standings. Antonelli is 83 points back, so he's pretty much out of the battle for the title. Leopard Racing, which is Mazio's team and Foja's team, still is ahead of us because we're the only people, we're the only rider on our team actually getting points. That's unfortunate, but I don't really give a damn about the Constructors Championship. That doesn't make a difference to me. I don't care about that at all, the team championship. So, Bubba, 44-point lead after a difficult first season in Moto3 is looking very, very, very good. And I gotta say, like I say this every video, but I want you guys to understand how happy I am about this game. I'm gonna go ahead and say, like I was talking to my friend Marco last night, my man Shepherd, and he's not a racing fan, a racing game fan, I should say. But even to him, this game looks great, and I'm like, you know, I would say this is the best racing game I have ever played. I mean, it's better than all the Gran Turismos, it's better than all the Forza games I've played, it's better than any other simulation like MotoGP / Formula 1 game. This is, I would say, the best racing game I have ever played, and that's really, really high praise, and something I'm very, very happy to be able to say. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and as always, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.